Hello, 7th grade ELA student. This is Miss Tolman helping out Miss Player. So if you do have questions, please direct them to Miss Player. I can do my best to help. She is the teacher on this particular subject. We are in our Unit 4. We are on our Lesson 9, Analyzing, Publishing, and Discussing a Personal Narrative. This will be the last lesson in this unit until you move on to Unit 5. All right. And after this, you do have a quiz and a practice test and a book review. All kinds of fun, promise. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. It is, again, a good idea to take notes as we go, just to kind of solidify it in your brain and make sure you know what's going on. And if you have questions, you can write them in the notes. And you can circle them, and that way you know that's where you had questions and you're not confused about where your questions are. All right, you're starting with analyzing a narrative. We're going to read the example narrative. It does not have an ending. The resolution of the conflict has not been written yet. Also, the narrator's ending comment about what she learned is needed. You may use this incomplete narrative as a model to help you with your narrative. However, you should give your story an ending. My first and last cruise. This was my first cruise with my family. My mom, my dad, Sally, and I had ever taken. Mom had made sure to bring motion sickness medicine, but we weren't worried about that. The cruise ship was like a floating city with 5-story apartments on it. After finally checking in, it took us another 15 minutes to walk to our cabin. Sally, my little sister, and I shared a small room with a bed in it, next to my mom and dad's. Mom said we would be eating in the banquet hall on the main deck, and then watch a show afterward. The ship's horn began to blow, signaling that it was taking off. We followed a map to the banqueting room. In the middle of it were round tables, all filled with just about any food you could ever want. I went back and filled my plate a couple times. I had steak, Mexican food, Asian food, also chocolate cake and coconut pie. So delicious. Whoa. We were walking outside on the deck and saw dark clouds from the north moving fast. The ship was not as steady as before, and I started to feel sick. Mom said she was getting sick too. When we got back to the cabin, Mom gave me some motion sickness medicine. Right after I swallowed the pill, all of my dinner came up on the bed and on my little sister. It was a horrible mess. I felt so dizzy, and then yellow stuff came up in my mouth. What was that? I had never felt so sick before. Dad looked through the portal outside to the ocean. Look at those waves. The rain's coming down in sheets. This weather was not on the weather report. How could the ship take off in this weather? Dad was pacing back and forth in the room like a captured lion from one side to the other. He tried to call the ship's information desk, but no answer. Please call back immediately. This is cabin 82018. This is Mr. Robert Herrera. Had to leave a message, he mumbled as he slammed down the phone. Robert, everything will be all right. The storm will pass soon, Mom said calmly. She was taking off the bedspread, trying to salvage the sheets. She had put Sally in the bathtub. Sally was playing with the soap and singing. Mom looked worried. Robert, look at the weather report on your phone, she suggested. Dad tried to get on the internet, but there was no signal. I'm going to go see what I can get some information from, said Dad. Just then the ship lurched. Mom and Dad had to steady themselves, and a voice came on the loudspeaker near the ceiling. This is Captain Sheehan. We encountered some unexpected weather. Please stay in your cabins till further notice. We will give you an update soon. Revising and editing. That's the end of that story. You don't get any resolution. Using description in your narrative, we will help the reader imagine the scene and understand the story. To revise, check over your words that you've used for your descriptions. See if you can add more precise, vivid words to describe setting or actions. Also, use some dialogue and make sure it is correctly punctuated. Proofreading dialogue. Follow these rules when you proofread your dialogue. You start a new paragraph for each new speaker. You put quotation marks around spoken words. Use a comma inside the end of quotation marks. Then the tagline, who says it, comes after the quotation. If the tagline is at the beginning, place a comma after the tagline and place punctuation inside the last quotation mark. So we know we're done. Punctuation of a quotation spoken words always lies inside the quotation marks. No spaces should exist between quotation marks and the words of the quotation. Here are examples. What's for dinner? Lisa asked her mom. I'm going to go fix some chicken, her mom explained. Lisa quickly responded, but I already had chicken for lunch. Too bad. All right, the narrative rubric. Read the categories in the criteria of the rubric. As you revise your narrative, make sure that it all meets the qualifications for the top scores. So again, we have talked about a rubric, right? And what do? We go to our maximum amount of points, and we shoot for that, and we craft our essays around our highest points. And we do have our 5. So your focus and coherence, your development of the plot, your organization, and your voice and viewpoint, and your conventions. Those are what you get graded on. And this is the most amount of points you can get, and this is the least amount of points you can get. So if your story's weak, and it's not focused and got a lot of grammar mistakes, you're not going to get all the points. So make sure that you're checking over your work. All right? And then we have our questions, and at the very bottom, edit and revise your final draft of your narrative. Submit the final copy of your narrative to your teacher for scoring. Save a copy for yourself. So you can either write it in this box and copy and paste it to a Word document or a Google Doc, or you can start it in the Google Doc and copy and paste it to this box. Either way, you need to save a copy, because your teacher, this player, might have you make revisions to it, and it's easier to make revisions if you already have a copy. All right, let us know if you have questions. That is your lesson 9. Coming up, you have a quiz, a practice test, and a Unit 4 test and book review. And then you will move on to Unit 5, and we're good to go. All right, let us know if you have questions. You're doing a fantastic job. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.